Computer. All right, it's on. All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Jenny Putnam, a member of the Falmouth League of Women Voters Voter Service Committee. The League is a nonpartisan political organization of women and men that encourages informed, active participation in government. We're nonpartisan because we never support a candidate or a political party, but we are political because we do take positions on political issues once we've studied relevant facts and reached conclusions based on the facts. If you'd like to know more about the League, please go to our website, www.lwvf.com. That's lwvf.com. Of course, one of the very important ways to actively participate in government is to vote. And unfortunately, the coronavirus has made this increasingly complicated and potentially risky. The purpose of this program is to inform you of voting options available in Falmouth for the upcoming May 19th election. Early voting by mail is one option recently approved by the state legislature. The town official implementing the early voting system is our own town clerk, Michael Palmer. We're very fortunate that Michael agreed to join us today to explain how the process will work. Welcome, Michael. Tell us a little bit about how long you've been working as town clerk and what your duties entail.
Hi, Jenny. Thank you, and thank you for doing this, and thank the League. As always, they've been great in supporting voting in Falmouth and supporting the efforts that I do in Town Hall. So a big thanks to the League of Women Voters and what they do. So I've been, again, my name is Michael Palmer. I am the town clerk. I've been a town clerk for about 18 years now. Our office handles a wide variety of issues on a daily basis. I have a fantastic staff of Lori Robbins and Susan Gonzalez and Barbara Remshaw that handle everything from issuing certified copies of birth and death and marriage certificates to helping certify the presidential election and everything in between. We have a temporary employee, Joyce White, who has worked in the planning department before, and she works here around election time, help us processing the early voting and absentee ballots. And she is just amazed at how many different things we do on a daily basis. She worked here for many, many years in the planning department, said she never realized that we did so much stuff. So it's always it's a good vote of confidence when you hear people say something like that.
Yeah, it sounds like you're really sort of the heart and the memory of Falmouth.
Yeah, we do everything here from, giving directions to, some people call and ask us what the weather's like down here if they want to come. So it's, we kind of handle anything that comes our way.
Terrific. The coronavirus has had a big impact on the way the upcoming elections will be conducted. Will any of the polling places be open?
Well, as of right now, we have a couple of weeks here to get through the peak period of time for the coronavirus, and we're about 6 weeks out from the May 19th election. And again, we're having two elections on that day. One, the state Senate special state election to replace our Senator Vinny DiMarcito. And we're also having the municipal election on the same day to elect our local officials, Board of Selectmen, Planning Board, Library Trustees, a housing authority, and of course all our town meeting members. So with those two elections, I'm moving forward with the planning of that, even though we're still 6 weeks out. And again, as I was alluding to, getting through the next couple of weeks, which seem to be what people are talking about as being the peak period, and see what situation we're going to be with the state of emergency on the other side of this peak situation. My goal is to reduce the exposure to the election workers on election day, and also the exposure to the voters that come to the polls. So
fabulous. So, what other options are there besides in-person voting?
One that right now that I am encouraging is early voting by mail. And a big distinction between early voting by mail and voting by absentee ballot, and it is that there's you don't have an excuse to vote by early ballot by mail. With an absentee ballot, there are 3 reasons why you can use an absentee ballot. One is you'll be out of town on election day. 2, you have religious beliefs. And 3, you have a physical disability that prevents you from going to the polling place. But the early voting, which is part of the emergency legislation passed just recently, will allow town municipal elections and the special state election to use early voting by mail, which I think I'm encouraging everyone to do. Again, as I alluded to at the beginning, to minimize the number of people going to the poll places, minimizing their exposure, and minimizing the election workers' exposure. So early voting, I'm encouraging as an option for everybody. There's no excuse needed to vote by early voting. I'm encouraging everyone to take advantage of that opportunity.
Great. And as you know, League of Women Voters always does a candidates night. We're going to do something like that again, but virtually, and we're working with FCTV to figure out how to do that. When voters receive their ballots, should they mail them back right away, or can they wait until they can get a little more information before they send them back in?
Well, for the special state election in particular, it was postponed from May 31st to March 31st to May 19th. So many people have already voted either by absentee or by early ballot. We're going to hold on to them in a secure location, and then we will count them again. We'll count them on election day. There's no need to apply again. We will have them, and those will be counted. But the league does hold the candidates night, and that has some valuable information that people may be looking for. If they haven't made their mind up on who they're going to vote for, candidates nights are a good way to maybe sway which one way or the other what candidate you want to vote for. And the league does that for almost all elections, and they do a great job of that.
Thank you. Okay, so when do ballots need to be received at town hall to be counted?
In order to be counted, absentee or early voting, we have to receive them by the close of polls on election day. So 8 o'clock on May 19th, we need to receive those. If people are mailing them back, we need to receive them again prior to 8 a.m. on election night. So if you're using the mail, you have to allow enough time for that mail to be delivered on Tuesday. If we receive it on Wednesday or Thursday, unfortunately, it won't be able to be counted. Given that we're 6 weeks out, people shouldn't procrastinate. Obviously, they want to gather as much information on the candidates as they can, but if they don't procrastinate and get it in right away, they'll be ensured that the ballot will be counted. If they're waiting till Friday to request an absentee ballot be mailed to them, and then they have to mail it back, there's not a lot of chance of that happening. So if they can plan ahead and request these ballots, there's an application online that they need to use to request a ballot. If they do that sooner than later and get the process in motion.
Okay, why don't we walk through that process quickly? So I'm going to put on screen share. So just to be clear, in order to vote, you have to first request a ballot online. And the reason for that is what? Rather than just saying, just send me the ballot.
So you can't request a ballot online. You can actually, you can download an application online, and we would need your signature on that application. If you don't have the ability to download that application, you could just send us a simple letter stating your name, where you registered to vote, where you'd like the ballot sent to, with your signature on it. The key to that is that the signature. We don't want just somebody sitting out there in a location requesting 100 ballots so that they can sway the election. So everything we do is to ensure that the integrity of the elections process and to minimize any potential fraud in voting in Massachusetts. I think we do a pretty good job in Massachusetts. You hear of other states that are challenged with some of the things that they do, but I think we do a pretty good job, and the requirement of having a signature, I think, is where that starts from. So again, if you can't use the application because you can't download it, all we need is a letter, and that can be either faxed to us, emailed to us. You can take a picture of it with your phone, as long as it has your signature on it, and email it or fax it back into us.
Okay, so let's quickly, I'm going to put on my screen share, and let's quickly walk through how people can get that request for an absentee ballot.
Okay.
So let's see. Okay, so I have just typed in here Town of Falmouth, and here's the Town of Falmouth website. I did it in Google, but obviously you can do it in any browser searcher.
FalmouthMA.gov is the website. And
Okay,
when you come to
falmouthmass.us is what it says here, but
okay, that is our old website. I guess it still works using that address.
okay, well, let's do the one that you just said. So falmouthma.gov. There we go. All right.
They could come to the same place. So.
Yep. So then I go to government.
Yep. If you hover over government right next to there, the blue button with the corona information on it.
Yeah.
You'll hover over the government, and then you'll see in the middle column the departments T through Z.
Yep.
The second one down there is the town clerk's office.
Okay.
And if you click on that, it'll open up the town clerk's page. And on the left-hand column there, in kind of the rust color box, is the top selection is election and voter information. If you click on that, that'll open up another link to actually early voting. So if you click on early voting, that's where you'll get some information on early voting and actually a link to the application that you can open up down.
Okay, and you had also talked me through a much quicker way to do that, so let's do that.
Okay.
Also.
And I find it much easier when we're using our website to go to the main page, and up in the upper kind of right-hand corner of that main page is a search function. And if you type in early voting into that function, it'll bring you to a list of options, and it'll bring you there a little bit quicker. But I find that it's sometimes easier to navigate our election, our website using that search option.
Yeah.
So and you come to the same page there.
Okay. And then I just wanted to highlight here that you have streamlined this process so that we can request both for the special state election and for the town election on one request. Some other towns have not done things like that, but we don't have to go both to the state website and the town website in order to do that.
Right. I have tailored this application in order to accommodate only having to fill out one application for both of these elections that are being held on the same day, just to minimize the paperwork and make it a little bit easier for people. Other towns may not necessarily have both elections scheduled for the same day. In fact, the special state election is just for the Plymouth and Barnstable senatorial district. So the compromises, I believe, 6 towns on the Cape and going up towards Plymouth and Kingston. But we're having also coinciding with that the municipal election on the same day, March 19th, where some of those other towns may not. So you're using this application is tailored just for the town of Falmouth.
Okay, and then when they write, if people are going to just write a letter, they have to include legal voting residence as well and date of birth?
They don't need date of birth, they just need their name and where they're registered to vote, some ways for us to identify who they are and where they're registered, and then I need a signature on that. That's an alternative method which some people don't have access to a printer or be able to download the application, so that's another method of being able to submit an application.
Terrific, thank you. So let's see. We also wanted to ask you a little bit more about the other ballot questions that will be included in the local voting.
Yes, along with the offices of town officials, there also are 12 questions that are on the ballot. The first question is an override, which will provide some funding for keeping the fire station in West Falmouth open. It still has to be, the ballot question gives the authorization for an override. Town meeting still has to vote the appropriation of the money. So that's a distinction that people must be aware of. People think that by the selectmen placing that on the ballot, it automatically gets passed and goes into effect. But town meeting still has the ability to weigh in, and if they don't weigh in on and vote in the positive on the appropriation, then it doesn't matter whether that passes or not. So just a distinction that has come up that we're not circumventing town meeting, but this is part of the process to get that approved. The second question is a non-binding advisory question dealing with the Plymouth power plant and the containing the fuel rods in the safest possible manner possible. And then the last questions 3 through 12 have to do with all the work that the Charter Review Committee has been doing over the last year and a half. They've reviewed the charter and make recommendations to the Board of Selectmen, and then has been brought to town meeting and passed at town meeting to make improvements to the charter, make the town function smoother. So there's quite a bit of questions. It's a long ballot, but a function that has to take place.
Wonderful. Okay. And then just to clarify one more time, if people voted for the original, they already sent in their absentee ballots for the original March 31st state Senate election, they do not have to send in again, correct?
Correct. If you've already applied for an absentee ballot or an early ballot for that March 31st election, we will not be printing new ballots. In fact, we'll be using those same ballots even for the March 19th election, and we will secure those here as we receive them back. We've received quite a few back already, and those will be counted on Election Day on March 19th.
Fabulous. And if voters have any other questions regarding this or anything else about the election, how can they contact your office?
They can certainly email me at michael.palmer@falmouthma.gov, or they can contact me by phone by 508-495-7353.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much for taking time out of your obviously extremely busy day to answer some of these questions for us. And the League has always enjoyed working with you as an honorary member of the League of Women Voters.
Well, Jenny, thank you for doing that. And again, as I said at the beginning, the League has been very supportive of what we do and getting people to exercise the privilege they have and the right they have to go out and vote. And if we can get as many people to vote and have their say and have their input into government, I think we'll be better off. So if early voting will help by mail, I think that's an avenue which we can do. But again, the League has always been instrumental in promoting elections and promoting participation in those elections. So I do appreciate all their efforts that they do.
Thank you. All right, so I guess that's all. I will hopefully talk to you again sometime in the future.
Okay.
Bye.
Thanks a lot. See you soon.